So on the topic of wishlist plants, my last video was a collaboration with Anna's Violet, and I thought it would be such a shame to just kind of let that die a death, seeing as so many people gave me some recommendations and told me what was on their wish list. And I don't know about you, as a plant person, I love to see new plants to grow and things especially that I've not seen before that are a little more unusual. So I'm going to show you the list of subscribers' choices for wishlist plants, your choices of wishlist plants, people that actually put it in the comments what they thought they would love to grow at some point in the future. So we're going to go through those, so let's jump in. And we are in. Okay, we're going to start with YouTuber Gart Morn, and he is a frequent commenter, very welcome comments, very useful comments, and his particular wish list contains 3 plants. The first plant is, and I'll have to read these because I've never heard of most of these, Alocasia amazonica, and I found this little bit of Instagram footage of somebody doing a repot of this plant. You can see how impactful this plant is. Apparently it's from tropical Asia and it prefers warmth and humidity like lots of these plants, otherwise it wouldn't be a house plant, would it? So the second plant on his list is any Croton. He loves the Crotons, and apparently they're from the Euphorbiaceae family. It never ceases to amaze me how many different varied plants you get from the Euphorbiaceae family. And the third plant on his list is a Calathea makoyana. Again, I found some footage of a Calathea makoyana. It's also known as the peacock plant, and this has very coloured leaves and red on the underside. And if any of those 3 are new to you and are something that you would like to grow in the future, tell me in the comments. This is what it's all about. And next on the list is Michaela Grimmerson. Apologies if I've got that name wrong. And she likes the lemon lime maranta. That's something that she would love. And that is a common name for another Calathea. And they're known for moving their leaves. And they move their leaves as a response to temperature and light changes, and also as a response to the moisture levels that they've got. Now, I had a couple of Calatheas, and unfortunately mine died. They didn't get enough light, and the temperatures in the conservatory at the time were dropping down to like 5 degrees. They don't like that. They like to be kept above 15 degrees Celsius. So that's a Calathea, but this specific one is a lemon lime maranta. So next up is YouTuber L Leo, and L Leo has 3 choices. First is a Nematanthus. I should get into this one because Nematanthus is in the Gesneriad family, and it's very similar actually to an Escananthus. That's the one that I've got in the corner with all the beautiful red blooms. So also in the Gesneriad family are the Streptocarpus and the Calaria. These are the other plants that I grow, so maybe I should have a look at Nematanthus. So Nematanthus, the species come from Brazil. It's endemic to Brazil. It's also known as the goldfish plant because the blooms look like little goldfish and they have the little mouths open. They're usually very brightly coloured, oranges and reds. It's also epiphytic, just like the Escananthuses, so that should tell you a little bit about how to grow them. So next up for L Leo is the bird's nest Anthurium, also known as Anthurium hookeri. And this is another lush-leaved epiphytic plant. Gives a real jungly feel, I understand. Now, third plant for L Leo is in the Commonalaceae family, so it's another one that I might want to get for my greenhouse. So this is, I'll have to read it, a Siderasis fuscata. So this is more of a rosette former than a trailer. And it has chocolate coloured leaves, and I actually looked this one up. In fact, I looked them all up, but I looked this one up and I saw a video on it, and it does look a really nice little house plant. The chocolate coloured leaves are quite large, they're quite fuzzy, they're certainly a lot bigger than a lot of the Commonalaceae family, and they form these rosettes rather than trailing, and the undersides, like a lot of the Commonalaceae family, have this kind of burgundy red colour. And I believe the little flowers are purple, and they contrast really well with those beautiful chocolatey leaves. It's endemic to Brazil, and like many of the Commonalaceae family, it can actually go quite a while without water, which is very useful in a house plant, I'm sure you'll agree. Okay, next up is Ruth at Canadian Haven, and her choice, and I'll have to read this one, I'll probably completely butcher the name. This is Zamioculcas, zamiifolia, zenzi. Try that again. Zamioculcas, zamiifolia, zenzi. Now, zenzi is the cultivar. This is a dwarf variety of this particular plant, and this one really thrives in the dark recesses of your homes. And let's face it, that's one of the major problems that we have growing plants in the house, or in the greenhouse for that matter, is that the light just isn't enough. So even though the recommendation for this particular plant is as bright light as possible, it will be okay if it's not that bright and you've got a darker corner that you want to stick it. I have seen a really good cultivar of this. It's not the Zenzi one, it's one that goes a little bit taller and it has these lovely glossy burgundy leaves. I've seen that in the local garden centre, so that might be one to try. So that's Zamioculcas zamiifolia zenzi. From East Africa, I understand. So next up we have an orchid. This is from Leslie Ann Hartman, and she likes Dendrobium prima donna. I absolutely love Dendrobiums. I can't say I'm that great at growing them at the moment. That's something I've got to develop a little bit. Couldn't find any footage, but there are plenty of photographs of this particular Dendrobium. So this one, as you can see, is white with kind of purple edging on the petals and that lovely yellow throat. Definitely one that I would love to add to my collection also. So Michael McCarthy always comes up with some really unusual plants, and I hate to say it, ones that usually dent my wallet, so I'll definitely have to read this one. So his first one is an Anthurium. Anthurium waraqueanum. Anthurium waraqueanum, a very, very striking foliage plant. And as you can see from this one, they're quite expensive, but this one has leaves that can go up to 1 metre long. So even though I might want this one, if funds would allow, I don't think I've got the space for this one. I don't think it would go up to 1 metre long in cultivation. Definitely in the wild. I believe this is also an epiphytic plant, and it grows kind of about 2.5–3 metres up a tree trunk. It has these beautiful long pointy dark green velvety leaves, and I couldn't find any on the internet that were in my local area or within shipping distance for under £150, and they were only like tiny little plants. So that's one I think that will have to be for the future. So second on his list was Philodendron Pink Princess. Philodendron Pink Princess. Now I have to say, I've actually just bought one. I've ordered one just based on his recommendation. I actually managed to find it fairly cheaply, considering that over in the States these are going for upwards of $100. I got mine for under £20. So if there's any Brits out there, crocus.co.uk, that's the place to go and get them from. So that's on order, and I really love the variegated leaves. I'm really into variegation at the moment, the pink variegation. But what really did it for me is I went onto Instagram and I found some footage, and it was a really unusual blooms, which you couldn't say they were pretty, they were just really, really unusual. This is a climber, so it'll do well going up a moss pole. So that's something that I've never grown before, and I'm really looking forward to adding that to the hothouse, which, as you can see from my hands, I've just been painting. So next up is from Granny Plants, a really unusual plant this. This is the ant plant. I remember seeing this on Brad's channel. So the Latin name for this, I'll have to read it, is Myrmephytum selebicum. Myrmephytum selebicum. I'm sure I've not pronounced that correctly. So what happens is this ant plant has like a swollen trunk or a cortex, and inside that trunk it has all these little holes, and the ants go and make the den, nest, whatever you want to call it, inside that plant, and they provide food for the plant and give it some protection as well. And of course the plant is providing a home for the ant. So it's this symbiotic relationship that no doubt's taken millions of years to evolve. Really fascinating thing, although I'm not sure I'd actually want one in the house. I don't know whether it attracts them from a distance, I don't know. It would be nice as a curiosity, but I think I'll just give that one a miss. So the next one from Granny Plants, I actually had this one. So this is called the eyelash fern. I know I've got an eyelash begonia. This is an eyelash fern, and the name is Actiniopteris australis. Actiniopteris australis. Again, I'm sure I've mispronounced that. So they look like eyelashes. So this is a tiny, tiny little plant, or certainly mine were. Mine actually came as a free gift, would you believe, when I ordered some ferns from a company in Ireland. And I killed mine, but I didn't actually look up the care needs for this particular plant. And when I've looked it up to make this video, I see that they like warm, arid conditions. Arid conditions I do not have. I have very humid, wet, damp conditions. I've probably overwatered it, I think, thinking it's a fern, but it prefers arid conditions, so that's maybe why mine died. So that's Granny Plant's choices. Let's wrap this up next. Okay, so really interesting to hear everybody's wish list plants, and I've already ordered the philodendron, and no doubt some of the other plants I'll add to my list. Following on from my last video on wish list plants, one or two people have offered me some of the things on that list. The one in particular that I was interested in, the Monstera albo-variegata. A lovely lady called Fiona has offered me one of the cuttings from there, so I'm going to have to get propagating that when it arrives, in return for a couple of Streptocarpus divisions, which I think is more than a first swap. So I'm going to send a few leaves for her to propagate as well from some of the other plants. So if anybody wants to swap anything and it's something that you know that I want, please do get in touch. It saves us all some money, and of course it's great fun to propagate these things and to grow them from being small rather than getting an established plant. So give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Tell me in the comments if you've changed your wish list as a result of any of these videos, or you have been relieved of some more money, as I have, out of my wallet thanks to one or two people's suggestions. And if you are a Streptocarpus grower and your streps at this time of year are looking particularly horrible with lots of dead bits and yellow leaves and sticks sticking up, old bloom spikes, then you might want to go and watch this video over here, which will tell you what to do to prepare them for the new season. So that's it for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.